The end of another season of racing is drawing near for a field of nearly 30 in the IndyCar Oval Elite Series. In 3 weeks, the finale is upon us, a full 500 miles at Indianapolis. Before then, one more brutal challenge awaits the field, one involving the twists and turns of a Californian streets. It's an annual stop on the calendar for IndyCar, but for those who have found success at the ovals, certainly not a place circled on that calendar. Tonight, it's the Indy Elite Series Long Beach Grand Prix, 50 laps around this claustrophobic and unforgiving circuit in one final road racing event before the Indianapolis 500, presented by Catalyst 317. Hi, everybody. Kyle Heyer, joined by Finian DeCuna for our last road race of the spring season for the Indy Elite Series. And Finian, when we come to Long Beach, this is always one of our favorites. Beautiful scenery, but the racetrack is extremely tough and unforgiving.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can see many drivers in many different series and many different cars tackle this track and also end up in the barriers. It's going to be very tough to navigate around here at speed. I think the guy who's going to win it, definitely the one who's got to be someone who's got to keep it out of the barriers, as well as got to be the fastest, and that's no easy feat around here.
Beautiful racetrack, a little bit cloudy skies here today as we hit the Long Beach Grand Prix. There is a look at the track map, and Finian, it's very flat around here, but it also is a little treacherous. That's because the walls can kind of enclose you in. Here's a look at the map down into turn number one. High speed, nearly 200 miles an hour into turn one, though. Then it leads you past the fountain into a couple of 90-degree turns. They're not as straightforward as they look, though.
Yeah, absolutely, and that section is really tough to get right, and especially watch out on lap one, because we could potentially see a caution. Last time we were here with this series, we did in fact see a caution through that section. Then through 4 and 5, got to get those tight right-handers, and then heading through turns 6 and 7, left and then a right onto the back straightaway.
And then as you head back into the tail end of the course, that quick right into turn number 9, then 10, the left-hander going to hug the left side of the racetrack all the way to turn number 11. And this corner is one we'll be talking about all night long. This is Calamity Corner here. If you get kind of tucked together here and in a group of cars, you see Mitch Welker negotiating it now. This is a very bad corner to have things go wrong. You can get yourself caught up pretty easily. Qualifying underway, and Mitch Welker is one of the first drivers to cross the start-finish line. He was very, very fast in practice. We'll see if he can hold it up here in qualifying.
Yeah, we expect to see him up near the top of the standings. Is decently quick on the ovals, but the road courses mostly his forte, as he throws his way on through the fountain section for the first qualifying lap.
Slings his way through, and one of the things you can do here in a sports car that you can't do in an Indy car is jump the curbs. Maybe through turn 5 you'll get a little bit of a curb there, but you're probably going to try to stay off of them as best you can here tonight, especially at the apexes early in the lap. But Welker navigates nicely so far. Especially the 90-degree corners, keeping tight to the wall at the apex is key around here. You don't want to leave anything on the table in terms of racing room, and Welker goes for a slide.
Oh, yeah, and just, I think, got a little bit too happy on the throttle, a little bit too early, and around he went. He's going to have one more attempt to try to get a qualifying lap, and actually 2 more attempts. These guys have 3 laps available for him, and Andreas Eich, your points leader coming into tonight. He's been slowly growing that points lead. Had a bit of a heart stopper last week at Gateway when his internet dropped, but I guess fortunately for him, unfortunately for his competitor, Robert Malechka, he ended up just not able to capitalize. It was caught up in a wreck, and has to really, he's on the back foot essentially entering these last 2 races, both at Long Beach and then the Indianapolis 500 coming up in 3 weeks' time.
throttling back up onto the front straightaway. This race last year was devastating for his championship hopes. He had a really bad run here last August. Now across the start-finish line for his lap. This is just the start of a flying lap for him. Let's ride on board here. Down into turn 1, 173, his max speed in miles an hour. Right out to the edge of the wall here. And then you just got to sling it through and without touching the walls anywhere. That's a tough task around here at Long Beach, but so far so good for Andreas Ike.
So a little bit of hesitation entering the corner right there now through turn, I believe, 6. Running down towards turn number 7. And it's turn 7 and 8 here are really tough to get right because the corners are blind. Can't really see the wall by the time you're entering. Just have to hope you're not too far out by exit. 7 not as bad. 8, we saw Welker spin out through here, and that tire barrier. Actually, oh, did they remove that? Used to be a tire bundle there. I guess they removed it. Never realized they did.
Interesting.
Andreas wait, no, he went past it. Sorry. No,
Andreas Ike into turn 9, then into turn 10. You got to keep this car pinned left right up against the curbing and then brake it as far left as you can before tucking in tight into the right-hander. Throttle back up. It's Adriano Pinheiro that's on the provisional pole right now, that number 56. He'll be tough to beat, but Ike across the line, a 106.323. That's going to be good enough to put him P4, but Pinheiro is the one currently on provisional pole at the moment. Looks like he's going back out for some laps of practice here.
Yeah, and I think for Ike, he's not going to be too upset about that. He's mainly competing with Robert Malechka. Malechka currently sitting 6th on the timesheet, is currently rolling out. He's got one more lap available when he gets to the start-finish line. He has more than enough time to do so. And this is going to be, again, all for nothing. He's on the back foot. He needs to start gaining some points, especially on Andreas Ike.
Yeah, I think he's going to need a little bit of catastrophe for Ike as well. If Ike just runs consistently the next couple of weeks, he'll be in a pretty good spot to wrap up the championship with a decent result at Indianapolis. But if things go wrong here, they could quickly spiral out of control for the driver of that number 76. Malechka across the line, cheats over to the right into turn 1, and then drills that curb through the first corner and then swings into the fountain section. Nicely done. Throttles up for turn 4. Again, this is another corner. You got to watch out for that curb. You see him kind of open the wheel up to avoid it as he hits 4. Oh, so close to that wall.
Yeah, he's getting really flirting with death there. I mean, you pretty much have to at a street start like this. You can see on entry very close, on apex close, on exit very close. He's really using every inch of track available to him. Oh, and I think feels like that lap wasn't fast enough. He's going to give up on it, so he's not going to go further than 6. Mitch Welker rounding the final corner and going to get back on the power. Is this going to be an improvement?
Well, he hasn't had a lap yet, so it should be across the line of 106.236. That'll put him P4, knock Andreas Ike back to 5th. Greg Forsythe of the 27 is heading down to the backside of the track, turns 9, 10, and 11 in the number 27 car. One of 3 drivers who have not yet put a time on the board. Ooh, a little bit of a lockup there, slow to get the steering input in. See what he can do on lap number 1. He's got 3 to lay down times. 108.336. He'll want another one. For now, that'll put him E15. Ryan Carey also on track. I think he's already run the laps that he has been allotted, so he will stay 3rd. Andreas Ike across the line. Will he pick up this time? A 106.187. That will pick him up a spot and put him ahead of Mitch Welker back to 4th place for the number 76 car. Chris Stouffer finishing up his final lap. 107.615, no pickup there. AJ Musselman in the 54 is currently on his 3rd and final lap.
Working through this hairpin, so tough to get right. Some guys keeping close to the exit. When you keep it close like that, you're going to get close to that wall and lose a lot of speed and also almost dent your wing. But flying to the line, Musselman across it.
No pickup, 108.576. John Downing in the 21. Rolling out of the box, but he's already run all the laps that he can run. The only driver left with laps on the table is Craig Forsythe in the 27. He's going to get one more run. He's burning off some fuel, it sounds like, and setting up for a run down the front straight.
Very smart way to set up the lap. Well, quite a few guys ended up doing that for their flying lap. So off he goes. One final attempt as he crosses the start-finish line. We'll see how much he can improve.
Needs to beat a 108.337. Well, he's actually got to beat a 107.625 to pick up.
Yeah, it was 13th. Was 13th on the timesheets in practice, so a bit of a lockup on the right side as well.
A little bit of a bounce through turn 4 there. That was a little messy.
Yeah, it does look like he is tracking positive on his time, though. Key thing is going to be, is it enough to put him one place ahead? He's 0.7 of a second behind Pablo Diaz. He's going to make up a lot of time.
Yeah, and it just looks like that car isn't very compliant over the bumps. This is a bumpy place. It's not exactly Detroit Belle Isle, but it's not smooth either. So if your car is fighting the bumps around here, you're going to have a hard time.
Close. He's up 0.5, almost 0.6 up on his previous lap. That's close enough to get him to Diaz. He's got to nail this final sector, though.
Last couple of corners, track as far left as you can. Set up that run onto the front straight.
Oh, bit of a lock-up.
Up through the gears now, across the line. Will Craig Forsyth pick up positions? 107, 646, not quite. 200s shy of moving up a position. He will stay 15th.
Ah, wow.
That is about as close as it could be. Adriano Pinheiro, though, in the number 56 is going to be your pole sitter. Alexander Vandesant will start alongside him on that front row. That was a fun qualifying session for sure.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm looking at the gaps, too. Third, fourth, and fifth were all thousandths of a second off from one another. It's kind of impressive at a road course like this. They were all within 0.3 of a second. So you know what that means. It's going to mean we're going to have a great race on our hands.
And so here's some things we should go over. 50-lap race. That's not very long, Finian. That's under an hour if things go green from start to finish. And why do I say if they go green? Well, because we do run admin-controlled cautions here in the Indy Elite Series. However, for the last couple of months, I'm not sure if you've been privy to this knowledge, Finian. Cautions have been auto-triggering on road courses, so it is likely that we will get a yellow if things go south at some point in this race. So we got to keep that in mind because we certainly could end up with a caution flag that kind of arrests this race.
Yeah, and what we mostly expected on lap 1 can happen later on. Very unlikely unless you get a complete stoppage by the hairpin, which definitely is possible, but usually a lot of times, especially the fountain section, just the entire first sector is usually where we see a lot of pileups happen when everyone is close together, so definitely keep an eye on that, as we have seen that quite a few times in the past.
Not going to have a ton of time to go over our starting lineup, but we will do our best. 22 drivers in this race before our season finale event, the Indianapolis 500 presented by Catalyst 317 in just about 3 weeks' time. Heading down the racetrack now to get our starting lineup rolling on row number 1. It's going to be Adriano Pinheiro, the number 56 with a 105.967, the only driver to go sub 106. He'll start alongside Alexander Vandesant in the number 97.
And moving on back to row number 2, Brian Carey's going to be rolling off in third in the 79. Andreas Light going to be rolling off in the 76 in fourth. I just wanted to note about Mitch Welker starting in fifth. He's actually given an EOL. I'm trying to actually figure out why he was given that, but he's given an EOL, I think, from an incident from the previous
last
race.
week. Yes, it would have been the contact in turn 1 at Gateway, the contact that he had. That would get him the EOL. He'll start alongside, he would have started alongside Flynn Lazier in the number 3 car who will roll off 6. Row number 4, Rob Malechka, the number 91, runner-up in the points championship. Jacob Oster in the 09 for Team I5G. Came off a win last week at Gateway. He'll roll off in 8th, Finian.
Moving on back to row number 5. In 9th place is going to be Andrew Wood in the 64. Next to him, Alexis Newsome. She's going to be lining up in the 63 car in 10th.
In 11th place, it'll be Jason Brophy, the number 88. David Adams in the 00 rolls off in 12th.
Moving on back to 13th is going to be Chris Stouffer lining up in the 13 car, and the 22, Pablo Diaz is going to be rolling up in 14th.
And in 15th place, Craig Forsyth, the number 27. AJ Musselman rolls off 16th in the number 54 on the outside of row 8.
Moving back to 17th position, going to be Joe Branch lined up in the 28 car. John Downing next to him in 18th in the 21.
And row number 10, Alexander Ball in the number 12. Tony Showen in the number 31 starts in 20th.
And moving on back, our final starter for tonight, Marshall Stanley in the number 5 car, rounding out our field of 21.
All right, so field is gridded, and we'll begin our pace lap that will turn us loose here in just a couple moments. Not a lot of time to warm up the tires. Quick look here at the tire selection. Again, we have 2 tires to choose from, the black sidewalled primary tire and the red sidewalled alternate. You need to use at least 1 set of each in this race. And you see kind of a split decision here between alternate and primary tire selection choices.
Especially noting that Ike and Welker are electing to take the black tires, everyone else around them on the red alternate. So going to be interesting to see the strategy, expecting those 2 cars to be fast, but they're going to be on a different strategy.
All right, gearing up now as we head through turn number 11. A very tight corner here on the pace lap, and already a little bit of dramas back there. A couple cars getting kind of caught up as we head to the green flag, and we're racing at Long Beach. 50 laps for the Indy Elite Series, penultimate race of the season. Adriano Pinheiro leads the way into turn number 8. Vandesant behind him. Carey, Lazier, Malechka. Everybody else line astern. After that little scuffle in the pace lap, everyone I think has made it out the other side. Here's Brophy under fire, and here comes Ike under fire from Jacob Oster, who moves up into 6th.
Yeah, Ike, not a good start at all, losing 3 positions immediately. Meanwhile, Malechka up 2 spots up into 5th.
The 91 picks up a couple positions. He's going to need more than that, though, to start reeling in that championship differential as they come into the night. That championship difference was 46 points, so some work to do on the number 91 side. Less so from the 76, but he has to keep his car in one piece and go in the right direction tonight to maintain that differential as best he can.
Oh, and Andrew Wood just also now getting past Andreas. Like, that car is not going forward whatsoever. I'm just trying to make sure that there isn't any damage to that car. I'm pretty sure he wasn't caught up in that nose-to-tail contact on the pace lap, but Diaz off the track in turn 1.
And some wing damage to boot. Let's go back and see what happened to the number 22, if it was self-inflicted. He already had damage on the nose of that car from that contact on the pace lap. Gets into turn 1, just locks it up, and as we cut back live, it appears that Alexander Ball has run off course.
Yeah, this is an interesting place that he spun out in. This is right ahead of Mitch Welker. He went just flying around by himself.
This is on turn number 4, it looks like. Just got onto the curb, the car was bouncing, and it just kind of spun around on him. So unsettled that he's got some wing damage he'll need to fix up as well. Out front, though, Pinheiro off to a good start, but Vandesant is running him down, was 400s quicker. And look at how this is shaken out. The alternate tire, the top 7 spots already owns. That tells me that red sidewall tire, whether it's coincidence or not, looks very, very quick. And Brian Carey's got trouble in turn 1.
Oh, man, a lot of drivers struggling early on. And I think he just was expecting more grip out of the car as they entering turn 1 and made some contact with the barrier, just sliding on through. Not enough grip in the rears.
Yeah, that will cause him quite a bit of nose damage. He'll have to get that replaced at the first possible opportunity. And you need the aero here. This track is fast enough that you really do need to rely on some of those aerodynamic components. Alexander Ball is on pit lane getting his car repaired. Brian Carey loses another spot to David Adams. He is going backwards fast. Yeah,
suspension is not straight. It's knocked out of alignment. He's got to put some steering, I think, to the right, trying to keep that car going straight. So he's definitely struggling. So he's making the left input to go straight, which is not what you need.
Definitely going to struggle until he gets that repaired. Meanwhile, out front, 3 laps into this race, Pinheiro leads, but Vandesant is tracking him down. 0.3 of a second is the differential. That 97 is coming.
He's coming, and he's coming quick. Meanwhile, Flynn Lazier in behind. Just want to make note, somehow the man has already used up 6 push capacity. He's only got 4 left.
Pushing here early. I mean, I guess you figure once you get spread out, it really is not as useful as it is when you're on top of drivers trying to keep pace with them. But it seems wasteful here 4 laps into the race.
Yeah, I was going to say there's not really that many straightaways you could use it on, so I would almost say it's a bit wasteful. But, hey, I mean, if it's helping him out, it's helping him out. But as you mentioned, Vandesant closing in on Pinheiro. This is going to be the 2 guys fighting really hard early on. It looks like Pinheiro not able to break away. Vandesant got the faster car, it seems, in the 97.
Yeah, running him down. That gap is just over 0.3 of a second as they head to turn number 9.
Oh, and Drysdale in the wall off of turn 8.
Oh,
and
no.
That car is destroyed.
Oh, that is exactly the nightmare that Andreas Ike did not need repeating from last season. Just slipped and into the tire bundles, and that car is destroyed, Finney, and that is going to be likely a DNF. It just slipped up just the slightest bit, and that will take our championship leader out of the running for the 2nd time in a row here at Long Beach.
Yeah, you can see the car, it kind of came around on the back end. And the same thing to what we saw with Carey, just was expecting more grip out of the car, wasn't there, and went flying to the tire barriers. We'll see. I imagine he's going to try to stay in and get on track, but it's going to be a while before he can. He's all the way back in P20.
Brian Carey pulls off the racetrack. I wonder if he just got in the wall again. He was leaving pit lane here and heads straight down into turn 1 and just drives off. So I'm not exactly sure what was up with that, but Carey is out. The attrition level is already rising. We're 5 laps in. We've lost 4 drivers. Brian Carey, Andreas Ike, Pablo Diaz, and AJ Musselman. And that championship fight is up in the air now with Rob Malechka still in the race and running 4th, climbing forward.
Yeah, he just saw his competitor go out. I mean, we saw he had the opportunity at Gateway, remember. Same scenario, more or less, except last week it was the internet issue for Ike. So he has a chance now again to close that gap. He's got to just make sure he can capitalize. I mean, he doesn't even have to finish and win the race. If he can just stay 4th or 5th, he'll gain majority of those points back and come to an almost net tie entering Indianapolis.
Chase for the lead still on at the front. Vandesant trying to run Pinheiro down. 0.8 of a second.
Oh, and Andreas like he's left the server.
That's it.
Official DNF.
I think that car was too far damaged to repair. Marshall Stanley having a look at Joe Branch. Little racy off into turn 1. He stays in tow for now.
It's tough. There's not too many passing opportunities. A lot of it comes from the driver ahead of you making a mistake. It's a lot of mounting that pressure in behind, getting into the head of the driver in front.
Well, so much of this is strategy, right? I think you have to look at a guy like Mitch Welker, who had to take that EOL, and he knew that, so he put on those black primary tires. He's going to put the alternates on later in the race and be really aggressive in the strategy to move forward, because passing cars is really hard here at Long Beach. It's not something that's easy to do. So he's running down, about to enter the top 10 here, only 6 laps into the race. That's a pretty strong start for Welker from having to start at the rear.
Yeah, I mean, taking you out of the Formula One textbook, too, a lot of the guys, when they get AOLs or any penalties where they drop down the grid, usually they'll start, as you mentioned, on the harder tire, because they kind of figure you're going to be stuck in traffic, it's going to be hard to pass, so you might as well save the better tires when you can switch to them for the later part of the race. But he's been making some decent progress forward, up into 11th after starting only back in 21st.
See Alexander Ball, I think, that was pulling out of the pit lane, pulled over and let Welker on through. Up in the front, still half a second between Pinheiro and Alexander Vandesant. Big curb jump there for Welker. You see a couple drivers in line that he can get by. The reason why he's starting back here is because of the contact that he had with Alexis Newsom last week at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Made a mistake, self-described that he screwed up entering turn 1. There was a bit of a checkup, and he just ran into the back of Newsom and ended both of their nights effectively.
Yeah. I was wondering why I didn't remember that, and that was conveniently because I wasn't there for that part of the race.
Chasing Craig through turn number 10 and 11.
A
Front lockup. Yep, that'll cost you a little time on entry, but Craig got it throttled back up on exit. Now the slipstream here, though, and maybe some push to pass, but that's another thing that Mitch will be conserving to use for later if he can.
Yeah, I was going to say, you can see he hasn't used it on this attempt. Still has all 10 uses. He's been very patient, I think, waiting for the later part. Late dive on the brakes inside turn 1. Foresight not going to put up much of a fight, and he will yield.
Mitch Welker up into the top 10, only 8 laps into the race. Ooh, the 27 get the fence. It was real far off to the right after turn 3.
Oh, and also note, AJ Musselman, he's gotten himself back on the track, had some troubles early on. He was sitting in 21st for the longest time, and now Andreas like officially drops to dead last.
That is going to be a catastrophic points night. Just the simplest mistake, and that's why I said at the beginning this track is super unforgiving. It's wider than some of the other street courses that you go to, but they're carrying so much more speed into those corners, and on exit they're just as constrictive. So if you make a mistake, you just immediately hit the wall. There's almost no recourse for making a mistake here.
Yeah, and also to try to give a little bit of a points picture too. Maximum, so with him finishing in 21st, maximum amount of points that Malechka can gain just off of finishing position, he's 46 points.
That's exactly what his lead is coming into the night, because
Yeah.
Vandesant just hit the wall out of turn 4.
Ooh, man,
So if Malechka gets max points, they're going to walk out of here tied.
Essentially, yeah. So it's going to be close heading into Indianapolis. Again, that is if Malechka wins the race. He's sitting in 4th, so has a chance of still gaining quite a few points. We'll take a look at that potential contact with the wall with Vandesant. Oh, yeah, that was actually pretty good. That was pretty square with the wall.
Yeah, well,
and even the wing damage, too.
I think that's how you want to hit it, though, is pretty square.
Yeah.
You can see that the front wing definitely is kind of kiltered up a little bit at an angle. I don't think it's going to be enormous, but if you're going to hit the wall, you better hit it square, because if you hit it at any sort of angle, you're just going to break that carbon wing right off, and it's going to cost you a ton in terms of performance until you get it fixed.
It does look like it's kind of hurting him a little bit. Not a whole lot, losing a 10th here and there, but I think that car is going to struggle. If not with the suspension damage, definitely with the wing damage. You know, that middle little dent may not seem like a lot, but it'll feel like a lot being the driver in the car. And you're going to have to back up some of your corners, too, to account for that loss grip, because you get really tight out of turn 1. So he's got to account for that. There you see that is Jason Brophy down into pit lane. Early switch to the white ball tires, I think. Hang on, let me double check that.
Currently, he is on
Oh, he's still approaching the pit stall. Never
Yeah,
mind.
he's still approaching. He's got the primary tires on at the moment.
Yeah, this is definitely an early stop, I have to imagine, right?
I would think so. But I don't think you can make the reds last that long, certainly. I mean, you could probably double red, but not sure why you'd hit this early.
I think he may be going with the decision of just trying to get off the Vandesant off the side of the track.
Yeah, I was going to say, I saw him going backwards on the relative screen for a moment. Let's see what happened to him. Exiting turn number 6 into 7
yeah,
and 8.
heading there in a hurry and just not enough grip.
And spun the car around. Yeah, did he hit the wall on entry is what did this to him.
No, I don't think he hit the wall. I think he went into the corner, the back end kicked out, just not enough grip.
No, he did get it. He did hit the wall.
He did?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
And it kept him from turning in. He kind of bounced the car left. So he drops down to 3rd place. Flynn Lazier, we haven't talked a whole lot about him tonight in the Spark VR car. He's had a really solid race, and he runs in 2nd right now after starting 6th.
Yeah, he's only made a few appearances here and there, but the few appearances he has made have been very good. That was a hard sentence.
See how crazy he just took turn 4 or 5 rather? Look at this. Watch this. Watch how he just chucks the car into the corner, just throws it in there, and it just sticks.
That's awesome.
Unbelievable drive there. Alexis Newsom is on pit lane now. Wow, Flynn is really driving the heck out of this car right now.
Well, I mean, I guess you can see the car directly he's competing with up ahead. He's also got a car, I think, approaching him in the back up to see. I haven't seen Vandesant this lap if he's starting to come back at the number 3 car.
I'm just impressed with how aggressive Flynn is being behind the wheel, just kind of throwing the car around as soon as it sets, and he just goes.
And also aggressive with the push pass. He's only got 2 left for the rest of this race. So, and you know, we talked about the push pass can be used in offense and also in defense. And if Vandesant is approaching, actually, as they come across the line last lap for Lazier, 108.9 might have looked fast, but Vandesant ran a 108.4, so he's catching him in a hurry.
I was telling you that any damage that Vandesant has isn't affecting his pace. 3/10 faster than the race leader. He certainly wants it more at the moment. He's just clawing his way forward as we hit lap number 12. So a few cars have hit pit lane so far, and here's another look at your tire selection. A lot of drivers still on that alternate tire. The top dozen or so have not yet made pit stops. We'll continue to follow this as that strategy starts to change.
The big thing to note for Vandesant, too, is when he comes for his pit stop eventually, he's going to have to sit an extra 5 seconds because you don't have a choice whether you get to fix that wing or not. Really, I kind of wish, honestly, that they did give you a choice like they do in the F1 games because, you know, sometimes you may not want to just fix that wing, just to not lose that extra time, but I guess we don't have a choice.
Yeah.
Pickers, you're going to fix that wing and you're going to like it.
No tires, just gas. I'm a one-man show. Here's Mitch Welker. He's the one-man show so far, up a whole bunch of spots into 8th place, now looking at 7th on Chris Stouffer.
Just saw his push pass use end on the back straightaway. Now I'm curious if he's going to use it again on the front here. Maybe we'll try to get a solid run.
I think the slipstream is enough to get you close. As he's going to hit pit lane.
Why not?
Immediately ditch in to put some softs on. So I think it's going to be a double soft strategy from here is what I would presume.
That's what I was going to say with Brophy coming in. I think a lot of these guys, they are just getting on the whites for the sake of it because these guys do have to use both compounds. And that's officially enforced by iRacing now with the recent update. But they're going to have to use both tire compounds. So I think they're just figuring use it for as little as possible and then get on the reds because that's, I guess, with the good tire. And it seems like everyone else out there, they're not really struggling that much on it at the moment.
No.
They seem to be putting in decent lap times and have a lot of grip to work with.
Yeah, they're not dropping off maybe nearly as quick as I would have thought. This kind of goes back to what we've seen all season long with the IndyCar tire, is when it wears out, and this is true for both the primary and the alternates, when it wears out, it doesn't get slower necessarily, it just drives worse. So if you're willing to get up on that wheel, you can kind of make it work, but we haven't really seen huge time differentials, even at the oval tracks. Once those tires wear out, the cars just become a bigger handful the longer you go. But Pinheiro has led every lap so far and continues to lead by 5 seconds. He's got his own strategy going right now. That's probably going to run these reds until they're dead. He could do a red, black, red combination or do red, red, black, but I think I'd rather do red, black, red.
Yeah, Vandesant still putting in some really good times. 0.4 of a second faster than Pinheiro and 0.3 of a second faster than Lazier. So Lazier also starting to eat away a little bit at the 56 lead.
Yeah, just a 10th carved away from the 56 last time around. Everyone else has essentially found their own room to race at the moment. Andrew Wood is, I think, trying to run down Jacob Oster. He was 0.2 faster than the Team I5G09 the last time by, but Oster, again, coming off of second win on the season, he is just looking really good lately, and currently running 5th after starting this race back in 8th. So see if Jacob can harness Long Beach here today.
He's been fairly good on the road course, as you mentioned, with previous wins. As he approaches Robert Malechka, trying to catch up to him. 4/10 faster last lap through, so Malechka's starting to fall off the pace just a little bit. Not sure that was a mulligan last lap. We'll see this time by if he's made any more progress.
Yeah, one of his 2 wins so far this year came back at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, and that was not a race that looked like it was in his hands. That was kind of everyone in front of him having issues in the last 15 or 20 laps, and Oster was able to kind of break through. Then at Gateway, Oster just outdrove everybody at the end and ran away with it. So he's got a win on a small oval and a road course. He would just need to win at Indianapolis to win at all 3 track types. And I'm sure he would take that over winning today by any stretch, or why not win both?
Yeah, I mean, why not, right? As he's still closing in on Malechka, up about 0.2 of a second last lap on the 91. So this battle started to close in, and also can mention Andrew Wood sitting in behind quietly in the 64 car, also following the 09 through.
And Malechka, this is a really interesting tale here, because tonight he started in 7th, he's running 4th. But let me just read out to you Malechka's finishes this season. It started off amazing. First, 6th, 3rd, 2nd, 9th. And when we hit Laguna Seca, his next 3 finishes were 20th, 15th, and 18th. So he has not been in the top 10 since February 22nd at Milwaukee, and that was even just. He hasn't been inside the top 5 since February 15th at Kentucky. Malechka desperately needs to kind of get back on the horse in terms of where he's finishing. It's not the pace that's the problem, but I think as we head into Indianapolis, he needs to take some momentum with him, especially if Andreas Seik figures out what's been plaguing him lately. I think that 76 still has a good shot at winning the championship, even with this blunder today.
Yeah, I feel like he may like his chances in Indianapolis. He has finished pretty well there in the past, so I think that's definitely a track he's got circling his mind where he can do well. As we look at Jason Brophy working his way on through, we saw him come in for fresh red tires. David Adams in for his, not in for his stop.
Well, he
made a big mistake into the barriers in turn number 1.
Oh boy, here's a look at it again on the brakes. See the brakes hot and locks them, and oof, that's a big hit down into turn 1.
Yeah, I think just missed his braking mark, or just didn't have enough stopping power in that car.
Yeah,
he definitely did.
Just couldn't. And the thing is as soon as you hit the brake pedal, you know it's too late. By the time you get to the turn-in point, you've already resigned. There's just not a whole lot you can do. They think the only thing you really can do is exactly what Alexander Vandesant did, which was bail out and go for the runoff area. That's the only way you stand a chance. If you just try to wrestle the car into the corner and make the turn, you're just going to end up smashing the tire barrier. I'd rather just go straight, do a flip around and lose a couple spots than give up everything in one go. Here's Downing and Newsom fighting for 14th. Wow, big dark there by Newsom.
I think you almost hit the wall coming, or if not very close to it, trying to use a run down the straightaway and a dive into the corner. Is it too deep? Nope, she keeps it hooked on the curbs, close to the wall, but gets passed on.
I think Downing helped out just a little bit there. Held the binders a little longer to facilitate that pass. Here's Tony Schowen a little slow on the front straightaway. Mitch Welker is going to drive on by, and Welker is now on that red alternate tire, and we know from everyone's discussion about how much better that tire feels on the road course. But we'll see if Mitch can make do with it and gain some ground here.
Yeah, an interesting thing with that, Tony Schowen actually pulled off to the side of the track to let Brophy and Welker on by. I guess figured they were a lot faster, didn't want to be a hindrance or potentially get caught up in a wreck with those two, so just pull off and let them on through. Now Brophy and Welker fighting for a position. Brophy, both these guys actually making their stops already, so now fighting with the new red tires they have on.
I think there's a healthy portion of drivers that are here tonight that just want to finish, and they're not willing to get into battles. They just want to get out there and finish the race. Welker all over Brophy as we head to turn 9.
Yeah, great battle between these two so far. Welker, who pulls out to the right side, doesn't make Brophy back out. He just continues like nothing ever happened.
Yeah, Brophy didn't take the bait there. Welker popped out of line. I don't think there was an intent to pass there. He just wanted to see if Brophy would give it to him. The answer to that is no.
And no sign of push to pass from the 16, so he's going to sit in behind. I'm not sure if he's close enough to use the slipstream to get close by. There's Tony Schowen and I think Newsom exchanging positions.
Well, here's a dive from Welker again, popping out of line to see if Brophy will take the bait. He will not. They will stay nose to tail here.
Almost looks like Brophy's is not even looking at his mirrors at all.
I think Welker's a little better than him right now. It's just a matter of where do you get the pass done. Long Beach can be tricky to make passes, but I find my personal experience tells me that this is an easier track to make passes than a place like Detroit. I know there's some people that agree with me or disagree with me on that, but I prefer Long Beach and tracks like St. Pete to actually pass, whereas places like Monaco, Detroit, those are really, really difficult to set up passes at.
There we go. There's he pushed pass from Welker. Brophy not going to use it to defend. Here he comes to the inside. I think Brophy knows the corner's lost, and he's going to pull back in behind.
The 27 car, Greg Forsythe's in pit lane. I don't think...
No, he's not in pit lane. He's in the barriers.
Well, I saw him slow, and yeah, this has been a problem for a while. Let's go back and see how he found himself in the fence. This is entering turn 9.
Oh, this is a difficult one because that corner, it seems like you can make it with some more speed, but it tightens up a little bit more on the exit, and then that wall comes up on you quickly. So this was him just trying to limp that car back home and couldn't make it. It's a tight turn, pit lane, when you with a cutout in the wall to make it on through. So we see now that is Flynn Lazier coming in for his pit stop.
And race leader Adriano Pinheiro, who's led every lap so far, he will come on down to pit lane. And that will mean that we'll have a leader other than Adriano Pinheiro for the first time tonight. He'll probably put the black tires on Will Pinheiro and maybe just run a 10-lap stint and then run the final 20 on the reds just like he just did.
And also, I'm curious to see Malechka if he's going to try to stay out, just lead a lap, and get a bonus point for that.
Interesting choice. We see the reds on the 56. What about the 3? He's got the reds on as well, so maybe red, black for these drivers.
Yeah. It seems like these guys are using the black tires for the minimum amount of time. The other drivers went about 10 to 12 laps. So I think these guys are probably going to do 20 on the reds and then 10 on the blacks if possible. It just doesn't seem like they like those tires. And based on the start, I'm not too surprised because we saw Ike drop like a rock, I think, just due to the fact he was not able to get heat in those tires and get them up to a decent grip level.
I'm just a little surprised they wouldn't do the blacks in the middle of the race. See race leader Vandesant hit pit lane here because I feel like you want the extra grip towards the end of the race, but maybe they think they're falling off too much and that the black would be a better tire to end on. But a couple other drivers, Jacob Oster peels off to pit lane as well. But interesting decisions here. This is why I love road racing in the IR18, is there's a ton of strategy at play with tires, push to pass, and just track position and pit selection.
Yeah, so Malechka is going to stay out one extra lap. I don't think he's going to stay out here too long because, again, he wants to come into pit for tires, although he doesn't have Andrew Wood in behind, so I think he might have to stay out to make sure he leads the lap and get that extra bonus point. Trying to close that gap between himself and Ike in the standings.
Yeah, almost everybody has made their pit stop. The only drivers who have not, as you see Pinheiro go by in the 31 of Shawan here, would be Malechka and Andrew Wood. They are the only 2 drivers that have not hit pit lane so far. And Joe Branch is also not, well, as I say that, here he comes to pit lane.
Yeah, so majority of the field pretty much have come in for the pit stop at this point, just waiting on Malechka and Wood. Only drivers to yet come into pit lane.
Oh, big understeer there, and he'll take that as the signal to hit pit road. And I'll bet you the 64 does as well. He stays out.
And actually that keeps Malechka from leading a lap as well.
Oh.
In the grand scheme of things, he's so close to getting that lap led, but Wood denying him that.
Here's Jason Brophy attacking Jacob Oster for 7th place. And Oster taking a much more aggressive line, throttling up and getting much closer to the outside wall versus Jason Brophy, who is very conservative through turn number 8. So Mitch Welker, who started at the tail of the field, is now cycled up to 6th. He's a long ways back. Ooh, there was a little bit of dramas between these two coming into the final corner. Here's a look. Oster in front of Brophy. You get down to turn 11, and then watch this.
Yeah, I think he was trying to take a better exit, so that way he had the advantage on the straightaway. I think, however, mistimed it, and figured he's going to hit the wall, so just jumped on the brakes, make sure he can make that tight turning radius.
And had the foresight to avoid running into the side of the 88 and realize he just had to stomp on the brakes to clear that, but he will give up a position in the process. So now the last driver is, who has not yet pitted, is Andrew Wood. Adriano Pinheiro enters turn number 11, and he will cycle back to the lead. as we close in on the halfway point of this race, lap 25 of 50 in about a lap time.
Wood officially stopping in for his service. Flynn Lazier, I'm noting too, during that exchange. Last time I took a look at him, he was sitting about 5 seconds back from Pinheiro. It's close to about a little over 3 seconds now. So he's starting to make some inroads.
Yeah, now that he's on those red tires, he is just on fire right now.
Oh, and I think it also helps Pinheiro being on the black tire. I think it's
that's
really
what it is. Yeah, Flynn was on the reds before as well, but Pinheiro's on the reds as well.
What?
Unless you're seeing something different.
Well, I'm going off of the ATVO. ATVO is showing the wrong stuff for us. On my timing screen, it's showing white tires for Pinheiro. That's interesting.
I just saw that as well, but visually on screen, I wonder if it's going to show it in the tickers. It does. Interesting.
I'm going to go off what's in the sim. On the sim, it shows I'm on that too.
Oh. Well,
that's interesting.
I just heard a clutch kick out of the 56. He's just trying to get that car revved up for the front straight run. But I don't actually know what tires he's on, because maybe the visual model's the one lying to us.
Yeah, because according to the sim and both of our timing screens, it's showing that he's on the Blackwall tires, but looking at it, he's on the red. So
he's in the wall!
He's in the wall!
No! Adriano Pinheiro, who led this entire race, just pounded the fence, and he's out. Just like that. That's how fast it happens. Well, it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, I was going to say it's not going to matter what tire he's on, but wow.
He's on 4 flat ones now. That's just heart-wrenching for Adriano. That will turn the lead over to Flynn Lazier. He is now your race leader and no longer has to run down the race leader because he is the race leader.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised with the amount of attrition we've been seeing today, especially because I feel like the conditions are a little bit more favorable. It's been overcast conditions, track pretty cool. Teed up a little bit. It's gone closer to 80 degrees, but in the 70s, which is as cool as you're realistically going to get. So I'm curious if maybe that's caused these guys to be more aggressive and then end up making more mistakes. I'm not exactly sure, but unfortunate either way. Oh, Malechka is going to be happy with that, though, because that's one less car he's got to pass on the track. So he's going to be up into third.
And Andreas Ike he's praying to whatever God he prays to that the 91 has something similar happen. It's just, it sometimes feels like you just enter a corner and all of a sudden there's just no grip there. And like I said, as soon as you enter the corner, you know if you're going to make it or not. And the times that you don't are pretty gut-wrenching because you just, oh man, you see that 97 car?
Well, I was looking at that. Look at Malechka entering turn 1. You'll see what I was doing about. Man was flirting with the wall on exit. It's right here. I saw him get a little bit.
Man, the exit stuff is a little, you'll hit the wall once or twice on exit. It's just when you turn in and the car just understeers, there's just no saving it. If you turn in and you realize halfway through the corner that you're not going to make it, it's not like you're just going to hit the grass like you would at Mid-Ohio. It's concrete and it hurts. But this 91 stands to pick up a lot of points, and as you mentioned, he could pretty much walk out of here tied with Andreas Ike for the overall points lead heading into the final race, which Rob Malechka on the ovals this season, the large ovals especially, has been dominant, if not just the best in the season. So I think he stands a really good chance at winning Indianapolis, and that has to make Andreas Ike a little nervous because regardless of what Andreas does at Indianapolis, if they walk in side by side, he's just going to have to beat him, and that's hard to do.
Yeah, and also to mention, too, Indianapolis is one of the crown jewel events. I think most people probably figure that, joining Texas and Michigan when we started this season. So extra points given out. How many extra points? Well, winning the race normally gives you 60 points. Winning a crown jewel event like Indianapolis, it gives you 90 points. So extra, and that goes throughout the rest of the field. Every position is increased in points. So it's going to give Malechka more of an opportunity to make up even more points on Ike should things, not even just bad things happen to Ike there.
Wrong keybind. I was looking for this one. Look at this. Red tire here, and the timing and scoring showing the black tire again. So interesting. Man, that was a very jarring screen to look at. Did you see
Yeah,
what
I did. He's like, yeah, that's why I was like, it's like, why is there a countdown? What's going on?
So when I have a plugin that allows me to do the telestrator, it also happens to come with a timer. If you hit Control 3 and Control 2 is the one that brings up the telestrator, and somehow I've never managed to do that before. But man, that is a jarring screen to look at.
It's very intimidating. Just start counting down.
Did you do something wrong, Finney? Are you worried about timers?
I mean, man,
don't cut the red wire.
But yeah, what he was saying is that, yeah, I'm surprised that another error there. Gonna throw that.
Is it a black wire or red wire? Because the computer sure as heck doesn't know.
Definitely doesn't know. Gonna yell at Kevin, fix your stuff, Kevin. It's your department.
Flynn Lazier leading the way, but Alexander Vandesant is running him down 107.6 the last time around. That was nearly 0.8 of a second faster. And then Lazier last time by. So I think we're going to see a battle for the top spot before the end of this thing.
Yeah, and both these guys are on the same tire strategy, and we were talking about Malechka, too, about him potentially finishing third. Big problem is for him, what I think is a problem, is Mitch Welker's closing in on him. And remember, Mitch has already gone on the Blackwell tires. He's going to be going, I imagine he's going to be going red to the end. I don't think he wants to get back on the primary, so he's going to be on the red tires to the end. Potentially can get past Wood and maybe Malechka, because both of them have to go on the blacks.
So we're hearing from Team I5G that the tire issue is actually on the sim side, meaning that it's the visual asset that's not changing. So Jacob Oster and Pinheiro are and were on the primary tire, not the red alternate that you're seeing. So that means that we can trust these graphics to show us who's on what at the moment.
Okay, that's good. It's good to know.
So top 6 all on the red sidewall alternate. And Oster, the lone driver on the primaries, inside the top 10. And that would mean that when we hit the end of this race, Oster would be the only one on the alternate tire, which is going to give him an advantage, I'd say.
Him and Welker.
And Welker, yes. So Welker will double alternate from here on out. Speaking of Welker, he's up to 5th place. Now remember, graphics will show that he started 5th. That's where he qualified, but he had to start at the tail of the field all the way back in 21st place. He has since driven back up to 5th through a little bit of strategy and a little bit of pace, putting himself on a run for a podium. Ooh, little understeer there in turn 1, but he gathered it back up. That's a rare opportunity to correct that mistake.
Yeah, I was going to say, and it is terrifying when you know that you missed the corner, you know deep down, and within a split second, you got to figure out how to get yourself out of the situation.
You're right there.
And he made a smart move of just going straight instead of forcing the car to turn, because you got more stopping ability when the car goes straight. That's all the split-second decisions you have to make to prevent yourself from getting into the tire barriers.
Well, here are your race leaders, Flynn Lazier and Alexander Vandesant, a second between them as we hit lap number 30 of 50 in the Long Beach Grand Prix for the Indy Elite Series. The penultimate race of the season, April 24th, will be our Indianapolis 500 presented by Catalyst 317, a special Sim TV production. Don't miss that one. Full coverage, pre and post race. Vandesant reeling in that 3 car very, very quickly, and they're on equal tires at this point.
Yeah, and should be on equal tires till the end. We expect them both to get on the whites. I mean, maybe not at the same time, but I think it seems like everyone here today does not want to be on those black tires for any extended amount of time. I don't blame them. It just looks like they just can't, those tires just can't get up to temperature as well as the red tires. You just lose a lot of time.
So coming to 20 laps to go, Flynn Lazier in command of this race. Tony Schowen of the 31, I believe, has just had an issue. Here's a look at it.
He's actually just in behind these guys, I think.
Into turn 1, turns in, and bam.
Oh!
Ooh, the 0-0. David Adams almost got into him as well. Here's what it looked like from on board the 0-0. And you actually heard, wow, that was close.
Wow!
You heard David Adams actually get in there too deep also, and he very quickly downshifted. He spent all of his time focusing on stopping because he followed in Schowen too deep. So just brake, then pop, 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 pop as he got the car down into gear. So he also made the same mistake, but just let the 31 get there first.
Showing Calamity Corner this race.
Lazier,
you can argue there are many Calamity Corners.
all the corners are Calamity Corners. We've seen someone hit the wall in pretty much every single one of them tonight.
I was just about to say, I think we definitely have.
Cars on
I think
pit
maybe
lane.
that corner right there.
Yep, Brophy and Newsom. And for the lead, it is coming down to nothing. Vandesant has erased it and is all over Flynn Lazier, and this is essentially when I would expect to see them hit pit lane. Oh, they went 20 laps the first run. Maybe they'll go another 10.
I was going to say, they might extend this on more. Again, I don't think they want to be on more than they need to. Remember, they have to go onto the black tires for their next stop, both of them. So I think, as you mentioned, yeah, they're going to continue out here. And I also wanted to mention, too, starting this battle, Vandesant had 9 pushed past to Flynn Lazier's 1. So Lazier does not have many options when it comes to defense. And as you mentioned, push past, there's Vandesant. Sees green on the steering wheel. Here he comes with a head full of steam. Will he look to the outside entering turn 1?
Oh, side by side into turn 1. The 3 slips. The 97 right on top of him, but couldn't make it stick. One of the big reasons I love the push-to-pass system is because you can use it defensively. The problem is, if you use it all offensively, then you don't have a defense. So you kind of shoot yourself in the foot if you use it for offense all the time. It's good in both ways. You just have to know when to use it. And I think Flynn might have gotten a little button happy with it earlier. I've seen it happen.
He got very button happy early on.
I've seen it happen as Alexis Newsom. She got damage on her car. Is that a light?
Oh, yeah. Nope. It has gotten into the barriers at some point.
Oh, yeah.
Turn 4, turn 5?
Turn 5, it looks like. Whoops.
Just got over the bump. Strong car got hooked around and hard into the left side of the car.
Yeah, 2 weeks in a row for Newsom after the crash last week. Not of her doing at Gateway. What were we talking about right before that?
Push to pass.
Push to pass. Yeah, I have heard of scenarios where people have accidentally had their push to pass button bound to something that they use a lot, like the radio control, and they don't realize it. You know, they're just chatting with their team, and oh, I'm out of push to pass. Let's hope that's not the case. Look at Vandesant all over the back of Lazier, though.
And he's getting all over him. Now, it's a matter of finding a way to make a move. Notably, he didn't use any push pass last lap, so I think he's kind of figured he's in a good spot at the moment. I think he's going to try to wait strategically instead of burning through his uses.
"17 laps to go. Mitch Welker is on pit lane, and this is going to be a scheduled stop. And he's going to roll. He's going to have the red tires on to the end of the race. Jacob Oster for Team I5G is in pit lane, putting tires back on. And he's also going to have the red tires on to the end of the race.
Yep, the actual red tires.
Yes. Your eyes can't be trusted. You have to rely on computers. This is not the plot line of 1984.
Up, and Flynn Lazier just used his last push pass, so he's
man.
all on his own for the rest of the race.
17 laps to go, and he's used up all the push pass.
And the ironic thing is that Vandesant didn't even use it that last straightaway as well. So you could argue maybe he used it for nothing, but he's got nothing.
In front of him!
No!
Oster for Team I5G spins, and the leaders crash into him. How much damage is there on the race leaders? Flynn Lazier, as the camera pans around.
Oh, Vandesant got off a lot worse. With Flynn Lazier, he got a dented right front wing. Not sure how the suspension is, but for Vandesant, he definitely is missing the right side of his wing.
Man, that is heartbreaking. Here's a look at it again. This is very similar to what happened at Mid-Ohio. That let Oster win. He just crashed into the wall there, and then Lazier, and it was Vandesant into the back of Lazier.
Oh, I think Vandesant might have some right front damage. We try to take a look in the cockpit and see if he's even driving straight, but he hit. Yeah, it's. Well, I guess they might have to come in for a pit stop now, and Vandesant coming in right now.
Yeah, that's going to mess up the strategy for the 97 for sure. Flynn Lazier, he's got more damage.
Oh.
A lot.
Oh, yeah, and Vandesant's gone past him.
Yeah, Lazier's had something go horribly wrong.
I think you're going to see the pass right here. Oh, yes, I think.
Right here at the exit of turn 8 is where he got the damage, and then the wheel starts vibrating and wobbling. Gets down off into turn 9. That left front tire's not attached. Then he tries to turn in, and it's just not gonna. And then spears into the tires.
I can say, Robert Malechka, currently the race leader.
Man. Things have just fallen in line for him tonight, haven't they?
I was going to say, and I think Ike's going to crave even more to any whichever guys he worships, because it's all looking the 91's way. Now, granted, we've seen many cars enter the wall or hit another car, so if I'm... Oh, God. A little close to there.
I think the racing gods are aligning for Robert Malechka tonight, because we were talking about, hey, he needs max points to tie it up with Andreas Ike heading into Indianapolis. Well, the racing gods have smited the smited, and now Malechka is going to walk out of here likely tied if things can stay as is, but he's going to have to beat a couple drivers. Andrew Wood, one of them. And then the other we should keep our eye on is Mitch Welker in that number 16. I still think he's in a really good spot.
Yeah, remember, these guys have yet to come in for their final stop. Welker, he's made his final stop of the race, so he's only got everything to gain from here. So Malechka, as he came across the line, is officially finally led one lap, so an extra bonus point to his name. Although I don't think he really cares much about the bonus point. He's too worried with, I think, the 64 of Andrew Wood sitting him behind. He's sitting there. He knows he's got a shot at getting those points. And actually, if he finishes, wins this race, that'll give him the lead by 1 point heading to Indianapolis.
Oh, man. This has been an interesting one. This is always an attrition-filled race, but the attrition has come from a different end of the field this week.
It's come from every end of the field this week. We've seen the leaders wreck. We've seen people in the back wreck. No one is safe from this track.
I tell you, this is one of the road courses on a street which are called street courses, that happen to look a little nicer to you on a track layout than a place like Belle Isle would. But this just eats cars so much more because the margins for error, while they look larger, you're going so much faster. So as soon as you make that mistake, you're not doing 25 miles an hour, you're doing 80. And you just lose control, and you slide laterally into a wall. But Wood and Malechka lead the way, and Mitch Welker, again, I like his chances with him being the leader of the drivers that have already made their final stop. Now, the pit delta here is about 40.5 seconds, and Welker is 36 seconds back from the race lead. That tells me that when everyone in front of him pits, it's going to be game over, and he'll walk away.
Yeah, I was going to say it'll be almost just game over by the fact that they're going to be on the slower tire. And the big thing, too, is that, again, a lot of these guys have yet to be on the black tire. They've been used to running the reds for nearly 40 laps. So when you switch onto a tire that has significantly less grip, it takes a lot longer to get heat into it. We saw Oscar, he went into the wall because I don't think he had enough heat built into the tire just yet as he just came out of pit lane. So these guys got to make sure they just don't wreck it on going onto the black tire and make sure they can kind of get the car home in one piece. Vandesant out in third place now. He's gone onto the black tires. So after losing quite a bit of time.
Have a look at the gaps here on the timing and scoring screen. There are 6 drivers on the lead lap at the moment, and John Downing is not one of them. He's gone around for a loop at turn number 9, probably a similar scenario where he just got in here too hot and bailed. Yep, right there. He knew it, and he just went straight. And that was a good call rather than try to make the corner, but he's still 9th. He will stay as such. So it looks like also, is Vandesant done pitting?
Yeah, he is done pitting. He's actually putting in, I gotta say, he's actually putting in some really good laps. 107.7 last time through. He was actually faster than Welker last lap through, which is a bit surprising.
So it looks like Vandesant will actually be the driver that will cycle to the lead when the
I was expecting him to. Sorry, I was expecting him to lose a lot more time, but he's actually putting some good pace in those black walled tires. Looking at Flynn Lazier, he is retired and left the service, so he's going to be dropping down the order.
Yeah, he will drop as far as 15th before the end of this race. Ooh, Vandesant got into the wall just a little bit. Heard him scraping on corner entry. But I would have liked Welker's chances. I like Welker's chances still just because he has not really made any mistakes. Now, I'm going to not say that and cut away because the commentator curse has been awful rough tonight. Here's Vandesant running in third. He will cycle to the lead. He will cycle to have a 7.6 second lead when everything pans out.
Yeah, I'm curious to see now up in front when Malechka and Wood are going to make their final stops of the race.
I would expect at 10 to go or so.
Yeah, I mean, they're coming up, let's see, they're on 17 and 16 laps into the run, respectively. I think they went around 21, 22 laps, so they can go another 5 or so before they have to come in. They definitely cannot finish from here on to the end of the race. They do have to come in. Yeah,
So
Welker, he's not closing in on Vandesant. That gap is slowly expanding in the favor of the 97. So Vandesant looking like he's going to take a solid lead. Question is where are these two, the 91 and the 64, where are they going to end up in the picture?
the driver we should keep our eyes on is Jason Brophy in the 88. He's about 46 seconds back from the lead, which would put him about 4 to 5 seconds shy of the two leaders once they return from pit lane, as Malechka hits pit road right now. So this will be interesting because Brophy would be your last driver on the podium if he could finish behind Welker, but Malechka and Wood will probably come out somewhere after Welker and before Brophy.
And Welker wishing he can stay on these red tires. Unfortunately, he's going to have to give them up, go on the slower tire, otherwise he's going to be finishing back. Sorry, yes, Malechka. Otherwise, he's going to be finishing back with Ike with the DNF.
Andrew Wood, the holdout again. We've seen this a couple times tonight. Vandesant gets past Malechka as the 91 begins to roll. Where is the 16?
Oh, and Welker coming flying through towards turn number 1. He's going to pass. There's Malechka off on the right side. And Welker ahead of the 91.
So regardless of what you're seeing on your screen, the tire that Malechka is running is indeed the black sidewall primary tire. So he's going to have less tire than Welker. I think the only thing he can rely on is that Welker's tires might be getting burned up by this point, but that is just an assumption at this point. I think Welker's been taking pretty good care of his stuff tonight.
You're going to see where Andrew Wood is also going to play. In fact, I guess he stays on another lap. So Malechka came in early. Curious to see if it was maybe too early.
So again, Andrew Wood, when he pits, he's going to pop out after Malechka and in front of Brophy. But we'll stay on the reds.
I was going to say he may stay in behind. He may stay in front of Malechka. I think it's going to depend how much grip he's still got left in these red tires. Again, Malechka, it's going to take a little while before the primaries warm up. At least what I've seen from most of these guys, it seems like they struggle the first lap or so.
Yeah, so he's got his pit laps complete, so next time by we'll get a pretty good idea of what Malechka's running in terms of lap time. But Andrew Wood just ran a 108.9, which is not incredibly fast, but it's certainly not slow.
Considering he's on the end of his tire life, that's pretty decent.
Right. For reference, Vandesant and Welker just ran 108.4s and 108.5s. That gap maintains at about a 7.5 second differential between Vandesant and Welker. 9 laps to go now for Wood. He'll stay out again. That time, a 108.7. That was better.
Yeah, that's what I wasn't really expecting either of them to come in around when Malechka did. So he did come in early. I guess figured might as well try something different to Wood. Unfortunately, or maybe not unfortunately, he's going pretty decently quick in the 91 car.
So here comes the 91. Now, the ultimate question now is how much time is he losing to Wood? Because if he loses more than about a second and a half, we would expect to see the 64 beat him off of pit lane. You would need to run about a 109 to 110 to be that far off. That was a 108.4, so that was actually quicker than Wood's last lap time around.
So it's looking like this will work out in the 91's favor, plus when you consider it too much, because his tires are going to be nice and warmed up when Wood comes out, and that's even if Wood is ahead, which I don't think he is.
Ooh, big slide on the entry to turn 9. When is he going to make that final dart to pit lane and turn things over to Alexander Vandesant in the number 97? He'll stay out again.
And using the push pass as well, I think trying to get any advantage because he knows it's going to be close between himself and Malechka.
See that green highlight really hard into turn 1. Leading laps, though, he's led 6 so far this race. He'll lead a 7th next time he comes around. And a really mixed tire strategy. Look at the timing and scoring tower now. Once Wood pits, it'll be primary, alternate, alternate. The top 5 or so.
Strategy all coming in, coming to a head for the guys close to the front of the field. Of course, Vandesant, solid lead for him, who we expect to be cycling out our race leader.
Yeah, it has stabilized, but Mitch Welker would need to eat into about a second a lap to get him from here, which I don't see as likely unless the 97 makes a big mistake. Well, let's not count that out yet. I mean, we've seen.
No, that's not.
This race is not over until that 97 crosses directly under that checkered flag arm waving on that final lap. There's no way that we can say this thing is over till it's over. Wood stays out again, 6 to go. There's Malechka. See Welker just up the road. He's actually eating into Welker's advantage over him. It's 6/10 that he ate out of the Welker advantage last time around.
This is quite surprising. I was expecting a complete opposite because the way these guys have been running the strategy, I guess it's still not the preferred tire, but it's not as bad as I expected. And as you mentioned, Welker potentially under fire here in these closing laps.
No other battles on the racetrack at the moment, but Malechka just took another 6/10 out of Welker's advantage.
Yeah, took another 6 seconds. 6 cents out of Welker's advantage and Wood's advantage. I think it's safe to say at this point, Wood probably is going to be slotting in behind Malechka when he comes in for his stop. Speaking of which, he comes out of the hairpin.
I would expect it this time.
Now, if not,
here he comes.
There he is.
And into the box, into the lane rather, slows it way down. Pit limiter is on. That will turn things over to Vandesant once he rolls around here. He's entering turn 9 now. The differential in pit lane is about 40 seconds. Malechka was about 33 back prior to the pit stop sequence. So Malechka entering turn 9 at the moment. Andrew Wood is into the box. There's Vandesant on the front straightaway. Wood just leaving now. You see Vandesant in the background approaching. Here he comes to take the lead. Wood rolls out of the box. Where's Welker? Oh, Wood. Well, that's a long pit exit, though.
It's longer than you think. There comes Welker flying by. Malechka not too far behind as well.
Here comes Malechka past Wood into turn 1.
Wow, that's as close as you're going to get by getting a pass done by barely a few car lengths as Wood has to take a long run getting through the pit exit.
So that will cycle things out. Everyone is done pitting. Up at the front, Vandesant leads the way by 8 seconds over Mitch Welker. Then it's Rob Malechka, the number 91, then Andrew Wood, Jason Brophy, the rest of the top 5. But this is going to be tight. If Robert makes any mistakes, Wood will be there to capitalize. We'll be coming to 5 laps to go next time by.
Yeah, for Malechka, it's a matter of does he want to push hard, try to catch Welker, risk taking himself out of a potential championship battle because it's going to close in significantly if he can hold on for this 3rd place position, but does he want that second? It's just up the road. Welker slightly worn out red tires, arguably at a disadvantage at this point.
Well, Vandesant comes across the line. 5 laps remaining in the Long Beach Grand Prix. 5 laps until we ship everything all the way back up to the Midwest and to Indianapolis Motor Speedway in 3 weeks' time for the Indianapolis 500 presented by Catalyst 317. Vandesant would come in with a whole host of momentum. Mitch Welker needed a good run, and here he is tonight running in second. He's 8 seconds shy of that lead. Malechka 2 seconds shy of Mitch, and Andrew Wood 1.3 seconds shy of Malechka. This is still hot contest here. Big slide there for Wood, though. I think he charged a little too much.
Yeah, and it's talking about pushing. Tires still probably not ideally up to temperature, not having full grip. And again, he sees the car right ahead. He's trying to approach, just threw it in just a little bit too hard. And we see many guys slip the back end, hit the wall. He got a little bit lucky there that he can go flying the barrier.
Yeah, it costs him about a second. So he'll have to hunt him down from 2.3 back now towards the end of this race. Vandesant, the number 97, he started up on that front row. And with all the calamity around him, he has been rock solid tonight. He had a couple small issues, one of them being turned around backwards, one of them hitting the wall, but he's rebounded from those things and managed all the issues and remains out front, having led of 46 laps, only 5. So he's been up in the mix, but hasn't really been at the pointy end until now.
Well, he's there where it matters the most. He's got to continue for another 4 laps. Can't quite entirely rest on his laurels, as we've seen throughout the race, with many leaders coming to the front and going to the barriers. Oh, interesting.
Did he short fill it by accident?
I don't know.
He just came in for a 2-second stop, so I think he missed the fuel.
Did he get a stop? Oh, did he get a stop and go?
I wonder if that he didn't have a blendline violation or anything that I saw.
I'm going to double check that.
Might have
you're checking right now.
I'm not checking it. I'm watching live.
Okay, hang on. Let me check coming in. Oh, yeah, he cut it. He did cut it looking back. It didn't look like, because you have to go as we kind of saw him come this time by, you have to go to the very end of the straightaway, more so even past it. So he cut about a little over half a car over that yellow line.
It's hard because you see the blue line disappear here, but you can't actually turn in until you get past this area here. Even if you do this or that, you have a left side tire over this, it's game over if you hit that line. You got to stay all the way across all 4 tires completely to the right of that yellow line. So that's what caught out the 64 car there. That's frustrating, but he'll drop to 6. Not a catastrophic day, all things considered.
I think for Malechka, he can rest a little bit easy. I think he's kind of settled in line. I don't think he's going to try to push on Welker. I think he's just going to get this car home in one piece. He's got a podium finish waiting for him. He's got 14 seconds to the next car behind him.
So, knowing how the points work, Finian, how does that set Malechka up for entering Indianapolis? He's not going to be leading the 76, I don't think, at this point, but he is not going to be too far off.
No, he's not. I'm trying to do the math now, just again one last time to kind of get a picture. But so he's going to be getting 46 points to his name, and then minus that by 14. I'm messing up the calculator. Give me a second.
2 laps to go now as Vandesant comes across the line. 108.5 to Mitch Welker's 108.9. Welker has expanded the differential on Robert Malechka here at the end, so I think Welker, as long as he can finish this up, would have a strong run and finish in P2.
All right, so going off my math, as Malechka also comes across the line and is heading towards turn number 1, he's going to be coming into Indianapolis with about a 14-point differential.
Behind.
Play out as a behind, yes. Which honestly, at that point, you could argue it's almost negligible. It's going to come to between a few positions difference with the extra points on the line as well. So it's going to be close, similar to what we had last season.
Very similar. I feel like it's just going to come down to who wins the race again. That's typically how it happens, knowing how good both of those drivers are. But I would give the upper hand to the 91, though, based on his performance at the Oval so far this year.
And funny that this happened all natural, NASCAR.
Everyone was joking that they wanted to caution flag him. That's just how it be sometimes. Well, white flag is in the air, waving from the flag stand as Alexander Vandesant enters the final 11 corners of this 50-lap event. And calling him dominant would be the wrong word, but calling him consistent might also be the wrong word, but he's been up in the mix and has been taking advantage of everyone else's mistakes, and his mistakes have been of smaller magnitude than everyone else's tonight, Finney, and he has just run a pretty solid race and just come back from every little glitch that he had along the way.
Yeah, I'll tell you what you can call him. You can call him the survivor. I think is the best term to give to whoever wins this race, and again, expecting Vandesant, as long as he can make it through. He's got over 10-second gap to Welker in behind, so I think he can manage these last few corners.
Well, he's going to lead 9 laps of the 50, almost 20% of this race. But through turn number 10 and turn number 11, the number 97 of Alexander Vandesant, it has been an amazing race for him. So far this season, he has not won a race. That changes today. Checkered flag, Alexander Vandesant wins his first race of the season in the Indy Elite Series here at Long Beach. Mitch Welker in the number 16 Project 2 car. This will be his best result in the series. He comes home second, silver medal for the number 16 tonight. Robert Malechka will walk away basically on equal footing with championship leader Andreas Eich heading into Indianapolis. Jason Brophy, 4th place. And Chris Stouffer, the number 13. We didn't mention his name all night tonight, but he started 13th and just had a nice solid day. He's going to run out of turn number 11 and come home in 5th place.
Yeah, I was going to say, really haven't talked a whole lot about him. It's a very quiet day in the office. I think he's going to take that with pride because he's going to come home in 5th. Andrew Wood, meanwhile, going to come home in 6th after his blend line violation. Could have finished in potentially 4th place, going to drop back to 6th due to that.
Well, Alexander Vandesant did it today. He has not yet won a race so far this season. His best finish was last week at Gateway. It was a 2nd place. He had a 3rd back at Milwaukee. But his road races so far this season, 20th at Road America, 11th at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. Not his best showing at the road races, but he's going to take his best showing of the season and make it at a road course. He wins here at Long Beach. Let's have a look at our race results here, Finian. Top of the order, of course, Vandesant in the number 97. And then it was Mitch Welker, Rob Malechka, Brophy, Stouffer, Woods, Stanley, Branch, Downing, and Adams, your top 10.
Yeah, you got to say, big round of applause to Mitch Welker. I mean, he did the official stats don't tell the whole story. It shows that he started in 5th, finished in 2nd, which isn't too incredibly eventful. A very good day, but in fact, he started all the way dead last in 21st. Drove his way up through the order up to 2nd. Unfortunately, was a little bit too late to the party up in the front. Probably would have hoped that the 97 had more misfortune, but still very solid finish in 2nd.
Having a look down the rest of the order here, drivers that didn't have amazing days. Tony Schaumann 11th, Craig Forsyth the 27 in 12th. And then it was Alexis Newsom back in 13th place. And then from 14th on down, all the drivers that didn't make it to the end. And most of these were shocking. Jacob Oster, Pinheiro, Flynn Lazier, Andreas Eich. Lots of shock factor amongst that group.
Yeah, absolutely. It's incredible the amount of drivers that ended up crashing out of this race. Many guys that were in the top 5 at some point. That's just how bad the attrition was this race.
Well, we're going to talk to our 3rd place finisher, Rob Malechka, who, despite having a really solid day, will still walk out of Long Beach trailing Andreas Eich, but not by much. I think I'd give you the upper hand heading into Indianapolis, Robert, given your performance on ovals this season. But a podium tonight at Long Beach puts you in a great spot to not only win the Indianapolis 500 in a couple weeks, but also have a chance at winning the championship. Take us through your night and looking forward to Indianapolis.
Firstly, I have to give credit to Alex and Brian and let's see who else, Wilson, Nito. They worked really hard in the setup and made it quite pleasant to drive. And for someone that is absolutely dog water like myself, driving on road courses, let alone street courses, it went pretty well, pretty uneventful. I had a few close calls, but once I knew Andreas had his misfortune, whatever happened there, I knew I wasn't gonna pull a gateway where I completely botch a good finish, and I came home here with a nice podium, which I'm very surprised about.
Well, looking at your season so far, it started off on fire. 2 firsts, then a 6th, a 3rd, another 3rd, a 2nd, and a 9th. Things kind of started falling apart at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, but looking at the rest of your oval history so far this season, 1st at Michigan, I'm talking about bigger ovals, 3rd at Twin Ring Motegi, 2nd at Kentucky. You're in a good spot heading into Indianapolis. Do you think you can win at that race, and do you think you're going to have to win the championship?
Yeah, I think most likely I'd say top 3. I mean, I don't know how close it is and when drop weeks come in like that. But yeah, I mean, it's, Indy for an IES is really the big first test for all the top teams to kind of see where we stack up for the month of May. And, we'll all get a good read there, but, hopefully, we start out on the right foot, and all of us with Power Slide can end up getting a really good finish there for Indy.
Well, Power Slide, Power drives to a podium finish. Rob, congratulations. We'll see you at Indianapolis on April 24th. Best of luck there.
Yep, thank you, Kyle. Have a good one.
Thank you. Mitch Welker brings it home in 2nd place, his best finish in the Indy Elite Series tonight. 10 seconds shy, making that 11.5 shy of Alexander Vandesant, Mitch. But tonight, a really strong night. Started all the way at the tail of the field after that EOL from last week's contact. But you drove through the field, played the strategy right. What more did you need? Just more time to catch that 97?
Nah, I just wasn't as fast. Maybe some setup tweaks that I wouldn't know what to do personally, or just being faster. He was a faster driver. He was also on reds, just getting more time out of him. So that was about it. I think 2nd was pretty much the maximum we could achieve today, and I'm really, really proud of that.
Well, it was a really strong run for you as we look forward to the Indianapolis 500 here in a couple weeks' time. Where do you rank that on your list of races? I know you're kind of a road-based guy, but in the IndyCar here, you've got to embrace that Indianapolis race. Is that something that you've circled on your calendar, or does this feel just as good?
Pretty good. This is pretty good, especially this being my first time seeing the checker flag this season, So I think starting here is really good. With the 2nd place, and we'll go to Indy, do our best. I don't have specific aspirations for Indy, but not crashing at that one would be good as well.
Well, didn't do that here either, Mitch. 2nd place, congratulations, and we'll see you in a couple weeks at Indianapolis.
Thanks, see you there.
Moving on now to Alexander Vandesant, who gets it done here for the first time this season. Vandesant claims victory in the Indy Elite Series. Road courses have been a little tricky for you this season, Alex, but tonight you kind of conquer all of them, the mother of all the road courses in North America. This is a challenging one. Long Beach, you tamed it tonight. Take us through your drive, the strategy it took, and bouncing back from a couple of those challenging moments.
Yeah, man, I finally got one. But yeah, that was a very up and down race for sure. Had to get a new front wing on both pit stops. And yeah, that incident with Jacob was unfortunate. I'm sad the battle with Flynn ended that way, because that was going to be pretty fun. But yeah, strategy for us was going to be pretty straightforward, we thought. In terms of tire wear, just go as long as you could on the reds and then have a short black stint. So yeah, the incidents kind of threw a wrench in that, but at the end it still worked out. Was able to roll with the punches and bring it home. Well,
we were saying earlier that it wasn't necessarily consistent, but you were a survivor tonight, and that's what it took to win this race. As we look forward to Indianapolis, how do you approach that race? Is that a race that you also have to survive, or do you have to be aggressive and fight for it from the drop of the green flag?
An open setup race at Indy is going to be extremely intense, and it's going to be a very good practice for us as well for the month of May. So we want to, push ourselves to the limit and see what we can do and get a read on where we're at compared to the other teams. So yeah, it's Indianapolis is going to be very important, and I think we're just going to have to go for it and push.
Well, Power Slide had some really good results tonight. Power Slide sandwiched with Project 2 in the middle. Alex, congratulations. We'll see you at Indianapolis in a couple weeks. Best of luck to you there, and congratulations again.
Thank you, guys.
All right, Finney, wrapping things up here from Long Beach. I love this place, always have, but tonight it really bit the head off a couple of competitors out there. That's no surprise, but perhaps what was a surprise is how much that attrition affected those right at the top of the order. Drivers like Flynn Lazier, Andreas Syke, Adriano Pinheiro, and Jacob Oster. But now we look forward to Indianapolis, where you have to be aggressive, you will have to survive, you have to do all the above to walk away as a champion of the Brickyard.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, actually, Malechka brought up a good point. I forgot about the drop weeks. And so that's actually going to play into factor. And actually looking at it, again, hoping I'm doing my math right here, is that it actually looks like the drop weeks will play into factor in Malechka's favor. So it'd be even tighter heading in. It's going to be very close either way between both these guys, so can't wait to get that race underway.
April 24th, it's going to be the Indianapolis 500, presented by Catalyst 317, one of the biggest Sim TV productions. We'll see you there. Kyle Heyer and Finney DeCuna bringing the action from Long Beach. In a few weeks, the season finale in the Indianapolis 500, presented by Catalyst 317 for the Indy Elite Series. We'll see you in Indy.